You ever seen a live stream that shouldn't be live? Not just eerie, but impossible? That's what jolted thousands of viewers out of their scrolling autopilot. A young woman, bronzed skin, sunburnt shoulders, dusty boots, staring straight into the lens. Still, silent, unblinking. Except here's the thing. She'd been declared dead for over 24 hours. And the desert around her? Bleeding orange dusk and long, crawling shadows. She was supposed to be buried in sand, not broadcasting from it. Her name was Calla Wren, wildlife conservationist, amateur anthropologist, adventure documentarian with a modest but growing following on TikTok and YouTube. She called the project Desert Echoes, a solo trek across the vast, burning ribs of Australia's outback, mapping ancient walkabout trails and sharing forgotten Dreamtime stories from elders she'd interviewed. No crew, no backup, just a GoPro rig, a signal booster, and a satellite phone, which stopped pinging 2 nights before her body was found. But the camera never stopped. The footage right before she vanished shows her smiling, windswept, eyes red from grit and heat, but beaming. Found something strange today. Looked like rock carvings. But they weren't quite aboriginal. Spirals, faces, like watching eyes, and it smelled wrong, like meat and copper. She laughed it off, but her voice, just for a split second, shook. And in the background, far behind her, there was a flash of movement. Not a person, not an animal. Something low, something crawling. She didn't notice, but the internet did. Her mother, Lena Wren, was the one who got the call. A station hand named Micah found her body 30 kilometers outside a cattle fence, face up in the red dirt, limbs arranged in an impossible pose, like a dancer mid-ritual, painted markings on her chest, dried mud over her eyes, and hands folded backwards at the wrist, mimicking a Dreamtime spirit called the Echo Woman, a spirit said to haunt trespassers of sacred ground, but only those who laugh at the warnings. The coroner's report couldn't explain her posture. No signs of restraint, no struggle, no cause of death. But her phone? Still live, battery somehow intact. And the feed? Streaming from a different location. An unmarked part of the outback. No GPS data, just blurry heat shimmer. And somewhere in the background, chanting, low, inhuman, and in one horrifying frame, Calla's open eyes, blinking, but she was already cold. So who or what was behind the camera? And why, when police traced the signal, did they find 2 more skeletons buried beneath the same spot? One dated 1985, the other 2010. Both women. Both posed the same way, both solo travelers who had gone off-grid. 3 women. 3 decades. 1 ritual. What if the Dreamtime figures weren't just symbols, but warnings? And what if Calla Wren wasn't the first? Just the first to livestream her own haunting? They told her not to record the stories. Not with cameras. Not with voice notes. Not even with her own words. Some things don't want to be remembered, the old man had whispered. He was the last living elder of the Wurran'di, a small, near-forgotten clan scattered across the Gibson Desert. Calla had begged for the meeting. Months of emails, DMs, calls. When she finally arrived at the old man's camp, heat lines swimming above the rusted tin roof, he refused to shake her hand. He only looked at her fingers. Too curious, he said. They'll find you. Calla thought he meant snakes. She had no idea he meant the Echo Woman. The Wurran'di have no word for ghost. They call them shadows that remember, entities that do not haunt, but replay, moments, choices, trespasses, played again and again until someone finally listens or vanishes trying. They copy your steps, the elder said. They do not walk beside you. They walk behind your memory. But Calla, like many before her, smiled it off. It's oral history, she told her vlog the next day. If I don't film it, no one will. She was proud, not arrogant, but proud of preserving stories, of making the invisible visible. That's what made her content different. It wasn't about spectacle. It was about truth. But in this story, truth had teeth. The markings began that night. She woke up to find spirals drawn in red ochre along the inside of her tent wall. 2 perfect handprints, but not hers. The fingers were too long. She posted it as a prank. Creepy, right? Probably just Micah screwing with me. Except Micah was 180 kilometers away, and her satellite phone hadn't worked since sundown. The footage jumps. We see Calla trekking across rock flats, wind battering her from all directions. I'm heading toward what the locals call the hollow circle. It's not on any maps, but I think that's where the elder meant, the place where dreams and stories began. She stops walking. Her camera tilts. Something's wrong. The rocks around her are arranged in rings, 4 concentric spirals leading to a pit. At the center, a single wooden post, buried halfway in sand. It's charred black and still smells like burnt hair. She leans down, brushes away the dust. There's a name carved into the wood. Calla Wren, 1985, the woman who vanished on her solo motorcycle tour. Declared dead. Never found. Calla doesn't gasp, doesn't panic. She whispers, "I think I just found her grave." But viewers notice something Calla didn't. As her fingers grazed the post, a second hand reached up from behind her. Just for a moment. A flicker. 5 long fingers, covered in ochre, then gone. She returned to camp that night, shaken. In her next entry, her voice is brittle. "I heard something. It was like someone copying my steps. 2 beats behind. Always 2. And when I stopped, it stopped." The fire crackles. She turns the camera around, showing the darkness behind her. Nothing. Just outback silence. But there's a sound beneath the wind. A hum. A low female humming out of sync with her breathing. She uploaded that clip at 2:14 a.m. It was the last scheduled post before she went dark. When Micah and the search crew found her, her boots were sitting neatly side by side, 12 meters away from her body. No footprints between them, no drag marks, as if they'd been placed after. But the most disturbing discovery? A trail of photos saved on her phone, never posted. Each one blurrier than the last. The same shot, the same pose, a figure standing behind her tent, just outside the firelight. His hands held out, palms up, waiting, and one final image, taken with the front-facing camera. Calla, smiling wide, but with someone else's fingers, longer, jointless, bone-thin, cupping her cheeks. "She laughed at the warnings," the elder said again, when police returned to interview him. "But shadows don't forget laughter. They wait for it to die. So why did the live stream keep going? And who uploaded the next post at 3:03 a.m.? 3 hours after she died? At exactly 3:03 a.m., 3 hours after Calla Wren was confirmed dead, her phone uploaded a new video. No caption, no hashtags, just static, and then her voice, but not the way she'd ever sounded before. "The stories want out. I told them. Now they tell me." The screen was black for 11 seconds. Then suddenly it snapped into motion. A jagged, sweeping shot of the Outback, panning in unnatural, jittery movements, like someone holding the camera, but not understanding how to use it. The audio popped. Wind, sand, then a whisper, low and dragging. 3 came, 3 stayed. 1 told, 1 laughed, 1 fed. Viewers thought it was a sick prank. Some accused Micah. Others thought Calla had faked her death for viral fame. But the metadata said otherwise. The footage was geotagged, automatically, to a spot that had no cell towers, no internet, no solar signal. The nearest outpost was 90 kilometers away. There was no way that phone should have connected. Yet not only did it upload, it did so through a private network channel labeled Echo 3. Police traced the source. The coordinates pointed them into Wurran'di country, where access was strictly limited. Even the most updated satellite maps showed nothing but scorched clay and a few bush pines. Except there was something there. An unrecorded cave system, half buried in sand. Entrance just wide enough for 1 person to crawl through. And inside, 2 more skeletons. Calla Wren, 1985. Backpack still intact. Microcassette recorder melted to her rib cage. jaw broken, like she tried to scream through grit. Nadia Fallon, 2010. Hiking boots unlaced. Wristwatch set to 3:03. Lungs filled with red dust. No signs of injury, yet she had suffocated. And both posed in the same horrifying gesture as Calla. Arms folded behind their backs, legs splayed, mouths filled with painted stones. But the worst part? A small rusted camera tripod still standing in the middle of the cave. Fresh footprints circled it, barefoot, elongated, deep in the toe pads. Calla's gear was never found, except her phone. It was still broadcasting. The 3:03 upload wasn't just a glitch. It was a ritual. Each of the victims had uploaded something at 3:03 a.m. Each had documented something they shouldn't have. And each had ignored a final warning. 2 weeks before her death, Calla received an anonymous message. Police found it in her inbox. Unopened. No subject. No signature. Just this. Delete everything. Do not repeat her name. 3:03 is not yours. When IT forensics traced the IP address, they hit a dead end. The origin point, a university server in Perth. Disconnected for over 10 years. The last person to use it? Nadia Fallon. The second victim. So how did a dead woman warn Calla from a system that hadn't been powered since 2011? And why was her own voice used to deliver a message she never said? Lena Wren, Calla's mother, was allowed to view the 3:03 clip before the press got hold of it. She watched it 17 times. Then she said something no one expected. "That's not my daughter's voice. It's using her tongue. But it isn't hers." She collapsed during the interview. And when police recovered her daughter's belongings, they found a rough sketch folded in the journal. Charcoal on the inside of a granola wrapper. A female figure. Eyes completely black. Mouth open, split to the jaw. And long hands. Fingers wrapped around a burning tree. Below it, written shakily in pencil. "Do not speak." She listens backwards. 3 women. Same pose. Same hour. Same fate. Each of them believed in preserving truth. Each of them uncovered something buried. And each became a vessel for something older than language. But what was the real message of 3:03? A time? A signal? Or a countdown? For who's next? That's how investigators described the voice in the 3:03 video. It wasn't just Calla's tone that felt off. It was the way she breathed. Backwards. Too deep. Too deliberate. One audio engineer enhanced the clip, isolated her vocal waveforms. And what they found? Speech patterns completely reversed. Not the audio. The way she was forming her words, as if her mouth had learned language from the inside out. The woman listens backwards. That phrase wasn't in any anthropological texts. Not in Aboriginal folklore. Not in any oral traditions they could verify. But it kept showing up. Scrawled in burned wood near Elodie's bones. Scratched into the lens cover of Nadia's old DSLR. And in Calla's final journal entry written sideways, right to left, over the margins. "I hear her in the echoes. I speak. And she UN speaks." Detective Ronell Hayes had led dozens of remote body recoveries. Wildlife deaths. Drownings. Even cold case homicides. But never this. He said the cave stank of iron and something sweeter, like decaying blossoms and scorched wool. And every time he tried to play the audio on site, his field laptop froze at 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Every time, different files, different codecs, but always the same freeze point. "She doesn't want to be heard forward," he muttered to his partner. Only remembered in reverse. Meanwhile, Calla's audience had exploded. Her live streams, archived and re-uploaded by fans and conspiracy forums, racked up millions of views. Reddit threads buzzed with theories. Government cover-up. Sacred site revenge. Ancient AI surveillance embedded in dream rituals. But one commenter, buried deep in the forums, left a comment that stood out. "She took something she wasn't meant to carry. The voice is not hers anymore. But the silence is." The account? Linked to a woman named M. Fallon, Nadia's younger sister. When police contacted her, she was blunt. "Nadia sent me one voicemail before she vanished. It was static at first. Then I heard her say, I looked back. She was there. She, the woman who listens backwards. She doesn't follow. She remembers you into her story. And Calla? She laughed. She filmed the altar. That's why the voice fits her mouth now. Here's where the case broke open. When investigators decoded the 303 glitch in Calla's final video, they found a pattern. Not random frames. Not static. It was a symbol looping every 6 seconds. A primitive glyph. Half spiral. Half eye. Traced over 3 overlapping shadows. Like a memory repeating itself until it forgets who it belonged to. Anthropologists believe it resembled a near-forgotten symbol of Jindera. A spirit said to steal sound from the living to feed the dead. But there's no documentation. No record of Jindera in any academic database. Except one. A torn page from a notebook, found near Elodie's grave, weathered but legible. On it, a hand-drawn spiral and the words, She whispers the way rivers dry. She hears you before you speak. If you look back, you become her. And here's where it gets worse. Micah, the cattle hand who found Calla's body? He vanished. No signs of struggle. No blood. Just his boots, left beside the fire pit. Neatly placed, facing away from camp. The same pose as Calla, as Elodie, as Nadia. And when they checked his phone, no outgoing calls. But his audio notes folder had a single new file, timestamped 3:03 a.m. Titled, I didn't look. I swear I didn't look. Investigators played it once. It began with Micah's voice. Fast, breathless. She was behind me. I didn't turn around. I remembered what you said. But then the wind. She moved through it. And she said my name. In my voice. Then silence. Followed by whispering. Not in English. Not in any translatable dialect. But if you play it backwards, audio experts found Calla's voice. Saying, we are inside her now. So what is the woman who listens backwards? A spirit? A memory? A story that only exists if you retell it? And dies only if you don't? Because if that's the case, every share, every comment, every repost of Calla's video might be feeding her. And the question no one can answer? Who will she speak through next? When the clock hits 3:03 again, they were standing exactly the same way. Calla's boots, Micah's boots, Nadia's, Elodie's, all arranged perfectly, side by side, facing away from where their bodies were found. Like they were stepping into something but left their bodies behind. Not a single scuff. Not a trace of struggle. No blood. Just 2 empty boots, sun-warped and half-sunk into the red dust of the outback. As if their owners had simply vanished mid-step. The forensic team dusted the inside of Micah's boots for DNA. They expected sweat, skin, sand. They found none of that. Instead, feathers. Long, black, brittle feathers, burned at the tips, and underneath one heel print, a perfectly preserved handprint in the dust. 5 fingers, no palm, and longer than any human hand could be. Detective Hayes stared at the boots for nearly 5 minutes. It's not just a crime scene, he muttered. It's a repeat. Because here's what no one in the press released. The same pattern had happened twice before, decades apart. 1985. 2010, 2023, 3 bodies, 3 timelines, 3 silent disappearances. And in each case, a witness close to the victim also went missing. Elodie's boyfriend, a French backpacker named Hugo, vanished without a trace. Nadia's friend Tash, who reported her missing, was never heard from again. And now Micah, the man who found Calla. Each one left behind a pair of boots. And one final audio or visual message, timestamped, always 3:03 a.m. The media dubbed it the Outback Echo Pattern. But Hayes called it something else. A story that won't stop telling itself. Because the moment one person steps into it, someone else finishes it. Like a cursed script being passed from hand to hand. Changing mouths, changing memories, but always ending the same way. But here's where the pattern fractured. Micah's final location didn't match the others. It wasn't inside the known cave system. His boots were found 38 kilometers west, outside a long-dried riverbed the locals call Wurran'di, the mouth that sleeps. No roads, no trails, just a rock face, cracked down the center like a wound, and scrawled across it using what looked like soot or burned blood, was a symbol, pair of boots, upside down, with long black feathers falling from them. Hayes brought in an Aboriginal historian from Darwin, Professor Jera Cole. When he saw the symbol, he didn't speak for a full minute. Then he said, "That's not a warning. It's a doorway." He explained that in Murnian mythology, boots left behind in neat pairs aren't signs of departure. They're offerings, an invitation for spirits to use the body, to walk in it until the souls wear out. "It means she's walking again," Professor Cole said, "and she wants more voices to carry her name." That night, Cole reviewed Calla's unposted video drafts. One file had no title, just a date, May 3rd, 3:03 a.m., the day before she vanished. The video shows her filming a wind-carved stone circle, whispering, "I heard her again. Not behind me this time. Not outside. It was inside the crunch of my own steps." Then, she turns the camera on her own boots. "If these are all that's left when they find me, please, don't pick them up. Don't touch them." But she never posted it. And her boots? They were placed upright, like she had done it herself. Forensic soil analysis revealed something else. Deep in the soles of all three victims' boots, grain samples not native to any modern vegetation. Ancient pollen, linked to extinct plants last recorded 4,000 years ago, preserved beneath layers of untouched desert clay. Plants that grow nowhere near where their bodies were found. So the question becomes, where did they go in those final hours? And how did their boots walk back without them? Detective Hayes submitted one final report before stepping down from the case. It ended with a handwritten note. "I keep dreaming of Calla walking barefoot through ash. Every step she takes, the ground remembers it wrong. I think we've been looking at it backwards. She didn't die and leave the boots. The boots left her." And now, a new update. Last week, a vlogger known for debunking horror legends visited the Wurran'di site, live-streamed everything, mocked the symbols, held up a pair of replica boots and said, "Come on out then, walk in me if you dare." At 3:03 a.m. that night, his audience watched the stream cut to black, then snap back to a single eerie frame, his empty boots, neatly side by side, pointing into the dark. There was no scream, no gasp, no signs of panic, just silence. And then the live stream flickered. A pair of boots, empty side by side, centered in the frame, positioned like all the others. Heels aligned, toes pointing toward the bush. What made this one different? The camera was still recording. Except now there were no hands holding it. His name was Trevor Dax, 31. A known content creator who built his channel off urban legends, creepypasta investigations, and viral dares. He had 2.1 million subscribers. His specialty, calling out fakes, debunking myths, poking the unknown with a stick. And when he heard about Calla Wren and the woman who listens backwards, he smelled a gold mine. A TikToker vanishes in the Outback after filming a cursed cave? Come on, that's clickbait heaven. His final video was titled, "Walk in Me If You Dare. Ghost Ritual in the Desert?" He hiked into Wurran'di, alone, found the same cracked rock face, filmed himself drawing the spiral symbol in charcoal, mocked it. "If she's real, come take a walk, sweetheart. Size 11 boots. Bring snacks." He laughed, but as always in this story, something was watching behind the laughter. The clip goes dark for 11 minutes. Then, with no transition, no movement, it returns to one image, the boots. Behind them, imprints in the dust. Not footprints, drag marks, as if someone or something had been pulled away. But here's what made the video truly horrifying. Trevor's voice begins narrating again, without him ever reappearing. And he's not joking anymore. "I shouldn't have said it. I thought she was a story. But she's older than the stories. Older than the dust. I walked through myself, and on the other side, I was already gone. His voice stutters, then says something no one has been able to explain. She turned my words inside out. Now I hear myself backwards. My mouth keeps speaking without me. Then silence, followed by soft, rhythmic breathing but not human breathing. Too hollow, too long between inhales, like something breathing through dust. Trevor's boots were recovered, but he wasn't. His phone was never found, but the video kept uploading. 6 more clips, all posted over the next 3 days, with no internet connection and no human operator. Each one exactly 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Each one showing nothing but the boots from slightly different angles. And in each video, the boots are getting farther away. Detective Hayes, long retired, still haunted, was brought back in. He watched the clips in chronological order. Noticed something chilling. The horizon in the background, it's shifting. The boots are moving deeper into the land, like they're walking without a body. Geo-tracking confirmed it. Each video was filmed 10 kilometers farther west than the last. And on the 6th clip, in the far right corner of the frame, there's a shadow. Tall, thin, limbs too long, hair blowing the wrong way against the wind. And beneath it, just visible, a second set of boots. Children's boots. Experts tried to analyze the figure. Couldn't match it to any known wildlife or human profile. But a retired linguist from Alice Springs watched the footage and whispered, "That's not a person. That's what the old ones used to call the Wurran'di, the carried things. Spirits that walk in the memories of the land. They don't move on their own. They move because someone remembers them. And now millions do. With every share, every clip, every comment, the story walks again. We fed it, not with fear but with views." The final chilling twist came when a satellite pass picked up a new heat signature in the Gibson Desert. The shape? A spiraling path made of boots. Dozens of them, all arranged in a circle pointing inward. A footprint in the center. Not recent, old, weathered, but human, and barefoot. And the strange part? The track was dated as pre-colonial, thousands of years old, yet freshly imprinted. So now the question lingers in the red dust. Is the woman who listens backwards a spirit? A curse? A memory too powerful to die? Or is she something else entirely? A voice that needs new mouths? And boots to keep walking? And if you've made it this far, if you remember their names, Elodie, Nadia, Calla, Trevor, have you just taken the next step in her story? There's a pattern to how she takes them. Not random, not chaos, a spiral. 7 names, 7 disappearances, each closer to the center than the last. And when investigators mapped it out, the graves, the boots, the live signals, the footprints, it wasn't just a pattern. It was a ritual design, an ancient symbol hidden beneath satellite scans and Google Earth topography. A spiral that tightens with each telling. Each time her story spreads, she walks closer. The last message, if we can even call it that, came not from a phone, not from a voice recording, but from a transcription glitch. An auto-caption error on Trevor's final video. At exactly 3:03 into the stream, as his boots stood alone, the subtitles appeared in perfect sync. The 7th name completes the story. But here's the horror. No one said those words. The video had no audio at that moment. And yet the captions kept writing. She walked first. You walked after. Now your names spiral back into her mouth. When she speaks you remember forgetting. 7 names. Elodie Wren, Nadia Fallon, Calla Wren, Micah Tiernan, Trevor Dax. That's 5. But the captions said 7. So who were the final 2? Detective Hayes thought he had the answer. In his private notebook, he wrote, "The 6th is the one who told the story. The 7th is the one who listens to it." He closed the file. Resigned. Resigned not from the force, but from the world. He was found 3 days later. Peaceful. Sitting upright in a chair in his home. Eyes open, unblinking, with earbuds in. No trauma. No cause of death. Except on his floor, perfectly placed. His boots. Side by side. facing the door. That left one. One more. And then something happened that no one could explain. Not the authorities. Not digital forensics. Not even the platform itself. Calla's original livestream reactivated. No device. No server source. Just the same haunting image. Her face, painted in ochre. Still. Except this time. Her eyes moved, and her lips parted. The audio, a whisper, but not hers. Yours. It wasn't Calla speaking. It was a mirror of your voice, saying, "You know the story now. You carried it. You finished it." Then a long pause. Then, "The spiral ends where you stop watching. But if you speak my name, I walk again. And now you understand. You've watched it, heard it, remembered it. You are the seventh. The listener. The final step in the spiral. Unless you share it. Unless you send her name forward. Give her new boots. A new voice. Because the woman who listens backwards has only one weakness. Silence. And silence doesn't trend. If you want more chilling true crime stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe to the Veil of Secrets.